Hello, chat room. How are we doing? Kingfisher, how many dollars per animal star? I don't remember how many animal stars we did exactly, including the aquatic ones from the original incentive. I believe the original incentive was $200 that was met, and so that would be $450 total. Divide that among the stars that we did, including Wiggler, because we didn't count that one first. Yeah, it was quite a bit of money, is the answer, and I'm super excited to have been here for it. On that note, since we did so much with Mario 64, I want to get us moving into that next run very quickly, and so let's go ahead and switch it over to Ghost, who's going to perform an excellent Mario Galaxy Any % Luigi run for us.
You want me to just vamp? Okay. I'm Tomato Anus. I was told I have to vamp for a minute. I don't know what's going on back here. I podcast with CJ It's All Good. Film is okie dokie. I hope maybe that has to do with it. I was told to just stand in front of my green screen and talk for a minute. I should probably start a timer. I started a timer. I'm gonna assume that I talked for like 10, 15. So, film is okie dokie with CJ It's All Good. We watch a movie, typically something that I haven't seen or CJ hasn't seen. We're like, hey, I wanna watch this movie with you, and we make the other person watch it, and then we talk about it beforehand, before we watch it, and then we watch the movie and we record ourselves while we talk over the movie. Here's a movie we've watched.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
You want to hear us talk about it? Then listen to The Film is Okie Dokie with CJ and Tommy. I've been talking now for, oh God, I'm almost out of time. A minute is a lot shorter than I thought. And then we won't talk about the movie afterwards and we say whether or not the film is okie dokie, and we still are trying to figure out what exactly okie dokie means. Is it good? Does it just mean okay? We don't know. We know about as much as you, and we've recorded like 10 of these episodes so far. So listen, please.
So, you're wondering if Save the Children is a good charity and whether you should donate to help kids. Let us show you where your giving goes. Here's how it works. For every dollar you give, 85 cents goes straight to our programs, helping children grow up healthy, educated, and safe. That means your donation can help provide books, nourishing food, medicine, and shelter to children wherever it's needed the most, in 115 countries around the globe. Now, about that other 15 cents. We use that for innovating, operating, and communicating with you, so we can create positive, irreversible change for children, and with children. Don't just take our word for it. Year after year, charity watch groups give us top marks. Bottom line, Save the Children is a top charity you can trust. So go ahead and feel good about doing good, and know that every dollar helps.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting patiently for this run. I know you all are looking forward to it because I know that I am also very much looking forward to it. And I believe, Ghost, if you want to introduce yourself, I will look for that bid war to see where we ended up on that for the
Awesome.
file thing.
All right. Well, hello everyone. My name is Ghost TSR. Ghost or Ghost T is perfectly fine. I have been running this game for around 3 years, and I hope you guys remember me from SDAT 2022. That's the last time I ran this game at a marathon showcase. Yeah, I'm super excited to be back on the stage. The run has changed a lot, and if you saw my run like 3 years ago and this run, you're going to notice a lot of different things. Before I start, I do want to quickly clarify a little bit about this category. This is any percent with Luigi. The way you unlock Luigi in this game is you complete the game with 120 stars as Mario, and you get a new fresh file. It's kind of like a new game plus file, but not really, because you still have to progress through the game. And you might also be wondering, why do I have a second cursor on my screen? I have 2 Joy-Cons back to back with each other. I have a Wii to HDMI in here, but we do use the 2-peak mechanics of this game, which we'll explain a little bit later in the run. And this is probably the most obvious change from my last run. I'm playing on the Switch version and the Korean text. That is the fastest language, and we'll explain a little bit more about that later in the run. I do want to introduce Marco real quick, my commentator. Marco, you want to say hi before Quill gives us the character for the file name?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited for this run. This is my favorite speed game. I've been speedrunning and doing challenge runs of the Mario Galaxy games for about 8 years now, so I'm extremely excited to be here.
Awesome. All right, Quill. If you're ready, let us know who we are choosing.
Yeah, the winner is Yoshi, which is my favorite choice here.
Dang,
So-
I see. I was hoping, me and Marco were both hoping for Peach, but I mean, that is perfectly okay.
I was gonna drop $46 for each, but I don't have the money to throw around, unfortunately.
Well, this is the character I normally use for my file. If everyone is perfectly okay, we will start pretty soon. I'll give a countdown from 10, and once we hit go, we can start. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, this is quickly the introduction, and since this is a new game plus file, you do skip the intro cutscene of like the Star Festival with Luigi. You just get right into it, and I will throw it over to Marco, who will explain the bunny section, first part of the run.
Yeah. So as Mario, this part of the run happens about 5 minutes in, so he's already skipped 5 minutes of cutscenes, first try. He's going to be going into the, probably one of the most reset-heavy parts of the early game, which is the bunny section. In this section of the run, you need to catch 3 bunnies which are running away from you, and in order to attempt to catch them a little bit faster, he's going to be trying to shoot them with starbits. Now this can go one of 2 ways. Either you get them all extremely easily, or you lose like 50 seconds chasing them in circles. Now, on the Switch version of the game, these bunnies are actually a little bit easier to catch, but it is still extremely frustrating to continually reset to this until you get a good bunny section. So there's definitely a little bit of challenge in this section, but it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. Now,
Also, that was a really good
that was
bunnies.
actually really good. 110 is really good bunnies. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the version differences. So like Ghost mentioned earlier, he's playing on the 3D All-Stars port of the game to the Nintendo Switch. This version has the fastest load times out of any version, and also gives you access to playing the game in the Korean language. This is the fastest language for the game. So those 2 things combined save about a minute over the second fastest version, which is the Japanese Wii U Virtual Console digital download version. Now, with the 2 controllers that he has, he's utilizing the game's built-in 2-player mode, which has a number of advantages over playing the game normally. One of them is the ability to freeze enemies in place by holding the A button, but that comes extremely secondary to the other benefit, which is the ability to do a 2-player jump. Basically, the intended mechanic is that if both players are playing together, they can coordinate to press the A buttons at the same time to get a higher jump. However, due to what we think is a bug in the game, you can actually do that jump off of mid-air. So he's able to utilize the two-player controllers to get a mid-air jump that allows you to go much, much higher than you are supposed to be able to by pretty much all accounts.
This is the first application of that. This is gateway skip. Hopefully I get it first try.
This is the first actual sequence break of the run.
Perfect.
Looks good. Very good. So that saves about 10 or 15 seconds. That actually looks pretty simple, but it's not at all. That is a glitched triple jump that requires a precisely timed neutral stick input in order to make the jump go high enough to actually make that. That is possible without the two-player mode, but it requires you to time that jump basically frame perfectly, so it is much easier to do two-player mode. A little cutscene skip here. There we go. If you jump, as soon as you touch the ground there, the NPC there, the Luma, does not talk to you. That actually saves a lot of time because there's a little cutscene, and you notice him kind of tickling the other Luma with the 2P cursor there. That is because when you do that, it does a little animation, and during that animation, it's busy to talk to Luigi. So as long as you're not within the radius in which it would talk to you, before you start doing that, you can skip some more text while trying to turn off those flip switches. So that was gateway. That is actually a very good gateway.
That was like a second off my gold, by the way, so that was like, I could not have asked for a better gateway on that. That was pretty solid.
So that is the first star we're going to be getting of 61 stars. So the final level in this game is unlocked by collecting 60 stars. Like pretty much every Mario game up to this point, this game has 120 power stars in it. So you're going to be seeing about half of the levels in the game over the course of this run. And one of the things that makes this game kind of interesting is the routing possibilities. So there are 6 domes. The domes are sort of like the worlds. Each dome has a number of galaxies. Each galaxy has a number of stars. Those are the individual levels. So there's the terrace, the fountain, the kitchen, the bedroom, the engine room, and the garden. Now the garden is like sort of a late game area. We're not going to be going there in the run. So we have 5 domes, a bunch of different galaxies, and we need to figure out a way to collect 60 stars as quickly as possible. Now for a while, the fastest route was to do a particular set of levels that did not involve feeding the hungry Lumas in the observatory. These NPCs spawn levels after you collect a certain number of star bits. So part of the early game routing in this game is collecting as many star bits as possible throughout the levels in order to in order to get enough funds, shall we say, to unlock some optional sort of hidden bonus levels that are going to be a lot faster. So the route he's doing actually saves about maybe 30 seconds over the second fastest route, but it is a little bit tighter on those star bits in the early game. And this is actually another benefit of playing on the Switch version of the game, which is that the cursors actually have a significantly bigger hitbox on the Switch version, so collecting those star bits is a little easier. The star bits are the new collectible in this game. If you're not familiar with Mario Galaxy, they're basically intended to kind of show off the capabilities of the Wii. There's a lot of motion controls and a lot of cursor pointing gimmicks in this game because they wanted to show off the Wii. So some of the so you point to pick up the star bits, and then you can press B to shoot them out. So this is the first level. Good Egg 1 is going to do the best strat in the game here. This is a strat that we call Amogus Climb. You can climb up the back of the tower here. It saves a very small amount of time. That's actually like a really high-level movement strat because it requires you to be pretty fast with your inputs in order to actually save time with it. The reason we call it Amogus Climb is because if you look at it from the side, the tower kind of looks like an Among Us crewmate. Yep. And then on that planet there, he held the boulders with 2P, so they crashed into each other and spawned a bunch of star bits. And that's another, you're seeing the applications of two-player mode to collect those star bits, and that is very, very important for the route he's going to be doing.
Also, I wanted to explain a little bit, but yeah, the different types of 2P jumps, like Marco said, There's the homing ground pound, the homing 2P jump where you do a homing ground pound and then you press 2PA. But you're also gonna see me doing a lot of grounded 2P jumps in places that normally would require a backflip. So that's just a little bit of an optimization that I do in these levels to save a lot more time as with 2P.
Yeah, that's a frame saving thing. You don't have to turn around and backflip. You can just kind of seamlessly chain into those 2B jumps. Now, every time he does one of the jumps off midair, that actually requires a 6-frame input. So in isolation, that's not too challenging, but doing a lot of them throughout the course of a run, you're kind of struggling to hit them super consistently. This is the first boss, Dino Piranha, again showing off the spin mechanic that is unique to Super Mario Galaxy. That is a really easy boss, but if you get hit by it, you lose like a calendar year. For whatever reason, that specific boss, if it hits you, like launches you 5 feet up in the air, and it takes a really long time. You do like a really long animation. I don't know why that is, but it's pretty annoying when it does happen.
Also, just to quickly mention before we go into the next level, just want to explain a little bit about text boxes in this game. This is not like your average Mario game where you can just like spam the A button through text. So you actually have to hold the A button and let go of it and repress it to scroll through text. That's just a skill that we have to get used to.
Yeah, holding A speeds up the scrolling speed of the text boxes, so every single time he's clearing a text box, he's letting go of A and then pressing it again. Even on the 3D All-Stars version, where there is an extra jump button, you can still only clear text boxes with one button. So you actually need to, still need to basically memorize the length of every single text box in the game and know when it's going to end in order to clear it. Okay, so coming up in this level is a trick that if he executes it properly first try, it saves 1 minute and 20 seconds. It is by a wide margin the most difficult thing in the run, and it's one of the most difficult skips in the entire game. So I'm going to be quiet and give him a little bit of time to focus here.
We'll explain the trick after it's done.
Yeah, I'll explain it after it's done, don't worry.
That looks close.
I think
that should be fine. It was. I got out of bounds, but unfortunately did not get the spin.
You got cooked by the spin thing.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We try it again.
This is like one of the hardest tricks in the game, so at least we are getting this out of the way early in the run. Hey! There we go.
That looks good, yeah.
First try after we took a death, so it's all good.
Yeah, first try every time. So, that is reverse gravity floating. So, I'm gonna do my best to explain this. The crystal has a hitbox where if you land on it in a certain way, it tries to, like, slide you off. You're not supposed to be able to land on those crystals. For some reason, we have no idea why this trick works. If you land on an extremely specific point on top of the crystal, it undoes gravity. You just get L to levitate. Now, what makes that trick difficult is that if you off-screen the crystal, it unloads, and then you stop floating. You just fall straight down immediately. So he needs to very specifically control the position at which he lands, which is exceedingly precise, the angle he's holding, the direction of the camera, and then also needs to make sure he doesn't get pulled in by the gravity of one of the planets while he's falling to the one with the star, because if you do, you just get soft launch. So that is extremely difficult, and it also saves over 1 minute. So at a high level, it's a very, very important trick, but also pretty notorious run killer. So this level is Good Egg 3. We actually didn't used to do this level in runs, but we found out that the time save calculation we were using for which levels were fastest was just like wrong, and that it was actually faster to do this level the whole time. if you do it 100% perfectly optimally, this level is not faster. But yeah, nobody is doing the alternative level 100% perfectly optimally. And there you saw what happens if you fail a 2P jump. So there he did not hit the 6-frame input window for the jump. And nice little skip there. That is harder than it looks because there's an invisible wall that tries to prevent you from doing that. So you have to jump around the invisible wall. But if you just know where the invisible wall is, it's not too bad. And now this is the boss fight against King Caliente. This boss is another motion control gimmick boss. So he shoots coconuts at you and you're meant to fire them back at him, play a little bit of coconut tennis. But we're going to be doing a pretty weird looking sequence of inputs here to kind of try to get him to shoot 2 coconuts at once. And then he's going to be waiting for King Caliente to fire the coconuts in a certain manner so that he can, very quickly get a fast cycle on the boss there. That is actually, again, there's more complexity to that than it appears initially because in order to make that work, while holding the coconuts in place, you need to hold them with a very specific positioning. Otherwise, the game will go, oh, he already fired a coconut. I need to not fire another one. So he won't shoot a second coconut unless you're holding the coconuts far enough away and with a specific positioning that allows you to hit them back at him. Alright, coming up next is Honey Hive 1. This level is pretty well known because you can actually skip the entire thing. So you're going to be seeing at the beginning of the level here in these cutscenes, there's kind of a tall tree on the left side of the screen there. The top of that tree is the end of the level. So if you can get up there to the top of that tree, you can skip the entire level, and indeed, it is possible. So he's going to be trying to climb up to the top of that tree. Oh yeah, also, this is another trick. There are slippery slopes in this game that you're not meant to be able to run up, but there are like 5 different ways to bypass them, and it's extremely easy to do. They fixed that in Galaxy 2, but they overcorrected it, and so slopes in Galaxy 2 are like, they're basically more dangerous than any enemy in the game. But in this game, as you can see, you can freely climb pretty much any slope, and he's going to be using some momentum to fire himself over to the other tree. And yeah, this is the end of the level. You're meant to go through like a bunch of other planets to get to the end of the level there, but he can skip all the way to the tree, and that actually saves a lot of time. It's like, I believe it's almost a minute.
Yeah.
It's a huge skip, and he actually executed it very well there as well, so very nice.
I also, something that is also possible as 2P only is doing that slope jump. If you do a 2P jump off the edge, you do get like a very insane boost, so that was the technique I did there, but you can jump off slopes in this game and get a lot more speed, so that's just something that 2P does as well. That's pretty nice. Just a lot of 2P jumps and slope jumping, and there we go.
Yeah, something else I want to talk about is what he just did right there. So you saw that he did a long jump by using the 2P controller, and you might think that that's just for swag, but there's an actual reason behind that. So in this game, when you long jump, when you land out of the long jump, you sort of get a little crouching animation that kind of kills your speed. If you do your long jump frame perfectly, though, you don't get that crouching animation. You maintain all your speed out of the long jump. Now, because that requires a frame perfect input, it's not exactly consistent. However, if you do a long jump with the 2P cursor, or if you do a long jump off of an edge, you maintain running speed out of that long jump. So anytime he needs to do multiple consecutive long jumps, like right there, he's going to be either doing that long jump off an edge or doing a 2P long jump to get what we call a running speed long jump, maintain that speed. That's a little optimization you're going to see everywhere. More sequence breaking here, you can use slope climbing to skip this entire section, this entire section of platforming. And now we have the most threatening boss fight in the game. Let's hope he can deal with this.
Hey, first try.
Wow, that's crazy. GG's on that one.
Very difficult. I was sweating bullets for that.
Yeah, you gotta be afraid of the double Mandibug stack, which is actually a boss that appears in both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. They brought it back for Super Mario Galaxy 2. The fan favorite character was made the final boss of a level in both games. Alright, so moving on here to Honey Hive 3. This is a level where there's an actual boss, and the actual boss in this level is pretty bad, so we're going to be having some fun with that. Now, the gimmick of Honey Hive Galaxy is that the game expects you to use a power-up called the Bee Mushroom, but the Bee Mushroom is really slow. It removes, like, every single movement ability you have in the game. So you don't get you never pick up the Bee Mushroom because it's, like, a lot slower than just running. However, sometimes it requires you to go a little bit creative with your sequence breaking, and coming up here is an example of that. So normally these platforms are a little bit too far to clear without the Bee Mushroom, but he's actually going to be using some creative jumping and some applications of the midair jumps with the 2P controller here to skip. Whoa, hello.
That was a
weird
real
wall jump.
scuff, but made it
So
work.
yeah, that skips the Bee Mushroom, and now he has to do this boss fight without the Bee Mushroom, which is also unintended. The depth perception on those jumps, by the way, is really difficult to actually get a good sense for. So they're harder than they look. And this is Bugaboom, which is a boss fight that's harder than it looks because of the way that it turns in the air. He's going to be trying to set up here for the fast third hit.
Ah,
Oh, missing the 2B jump. That's unfortunate, but it's okay. You just need
we're just gonna have to wait for him to
Gaboom
go
to come
around.
back around. So you can see that the boss is kind of turning in the air, and so the reason that fast third hit is difficult is because it requires a positionally, relatively positionally precise jump, as well as a well-timed one. You need to kind of get over there quickly before Bugaboom turns so that you can ground pound onto its back. And thankfully the game's pretty lenient with that, but it's still pretty challenging to actually make that movement over there, especially considering the fact that the camera takes a little bit of time to pan back to Luigi, so you have to do the first bit of that movement without actually being able to see. So coming up next is Flip Switch. This is actually kind of a funny level because it's really short and simplistic, but it still presents some amount of actual challenge in a speedrun. Basically, the goal of the level is to step on all of the switches to change them from blue to yellow. However, the entire thing is also on a cycle, and those red spiked platforms, you can freeze those with the 2-player cursor to stop them from moving, but these electric fence things you cannot. So he actually needs to kind of make some very specific movement here in order to be able to make it across these platforms with the proper cycle. And he's gonna try to hit a triple jump into the star here as it spawns. That enemy is a spring, and you can use the enemy to bounce up, but you can also just make it in the star. Very nice. That was a perfect cycle. So we're already almost done with the first dome, which is the terrace, like I mentioned earlier. We're going to be heading into the first boss level. Basically, this game alternates between boss fights against Bowser Jr. and Bowser at the end of every world, every dome. And this first one is against Bowser Jr., who totally cheats. And instead of fighting you, he summons a giant robot to do it for him. So we're gonna get to see him duke it out with Bowser the old-fashioned way in a few minutes. But before then, we need to watch Luigi versus Giant Robot, the most anticipated fight of 2025. Now, this first planet, you're meant to lure a bullet bill to break a glass cage to spawn the launch star so you get to the next planet, but it has a huge gravity field because of the boss, so he's actually just going to jump into that gravity field and make his way directly to the boss planet. And now he needs to jump into the cutscene trigger to start the fight, and so that's what he did there. Now, this fight is actually pretty interesting. It's against Megaleg here. And this boss is it can be a little weird. Basically, he's going to try to make it onto Megaleg's leg before the boss takes a step and moves. And if he does some good long jumps here, he should be able to make it onto the leg and do some nice gravity shenanigans to quickly scale the robot and destroy the cage on top. Now, if you notice, there's a grand star inside that cage, and you might be thinking that it's a shame we can't clip into the cage, but a little piece of trivia is that star is actually not collectible while it's inside the cage. It's not solid, it's just a fake star in there. So, interestingly enough, you actually, even if there was a way to get into that cage, you would not be able to get in there. You'd still need to defeat the boss normally. And what he did there is called starbit duping. If you collect a starbit at the same time as you collect a star, a power star, you get the starbits twice. So there he had the opportunity to duplicate up to 24 starbits. I think he collected a couple during the boss fight. And that's one of the premier levels where that's useful. You might think that we're going to use that everywhere. It's actually not the case. There's like two stars you can do that in. And the reason why that's so useful in that star is because all of the starbits fall into the same physical location. So you can grab them all at the same time right before the end of the level. But if you hit the dupe, the maximum starbits you can normally get in that level is 28. You can see there that he got 42. So he got way more than you're supposed to be able to get in that level just by doing it the normal way. Alright, now we're going to be heading to the fountain, and the fountain is everybody's least favorite part of the run. Nobody likes the fountain. The fountain's terrible. It is probably one of the most frustrating late early games in any game I've ever speedrun. You reset a bunch just to get a good run on a terrace, and then fountain comes to crush all of your dreams, and it is kind of a universal experience of every Galaxy runner that the early game in these runs is very challenging, and it has a tendency to be very reset heavy. And one perfect example of that is this level, Space Junk 1, which contains a skip that is probably one of the most inconsistent skips in the game. It relies on, technically, you can get it every time if you do it the exact same way every time, if you're a TAS, but yeah, good luck with that. So he's going to be trying to very specifically gain momentum out of these pole stars, and it did not work there. That was not an execution mistake. He literally just, didn't get it.
Ooh, that was good.
And that was a suspicious setup, but it worked. So basically in this game, backwards momentum is really broken, and if you break out of the pole star in such a way that Luigi's spinning animation while he's in the bubble causes him to face backwards, you can get enough backwards momentum to make it to the next planet and skip the entire section beforehand, saving the better part of 30 seconds. This section with the silver stars is some pretty tricky movement. You want to kind of memorize where the platforms are going to appear so that you can confidently jump between them.
Also, we didn't have a lot of time to explain.
The iteration of that star. We're going to see the scariest version later. Go ahead.
Also, I think Marco forgot to mention this, but we did do a small skip there to get into the Sling Star. By 2P jumping into there, we can skip having to break the toads out of the crystals they were already in. So that was just something that we just quickly glanced over because how many skips there are in early game. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's actually, again, it's another thing that's deceptively kind of more difficult than it looks. He's actually taking advantage of kind of an exploit in the way that momentum works in the game, where if you jump while going around a corner, you get a slightly higher jump. So you actually used that to get a higher than usual jump. All right, this level is very interesting Space Junk 2, this level contains a boss fight at the end. And the boss fight is against Camilla, the big magic Hoopa, who shoots fireballs and shells at you in kind of an alternating pattern. And what's interesting about that boss fight is that the cycles on which she shoots the shells and fireballs are actually global, and they're global from the point that you turn the console on. So before the run started, he actually went into a already completed save file, and he set up this boss fights cycles to be in the optimal locations, and then he just reset the game and started this run on a new. This run is like from a new save file and everything. So because of that, this boss fight's actually going to be already set up so that she instantly throws shells at him and doesn't waste any time throwing fireballs. And there he did another little exploit with that shell. He spun and then immediately did a long jump to cancel the spin. And if you do that, you can make shells fly towards you, but then you can kind of run away from them so that they're not able to catch up with you. And that lets them do the movement to the boss fight a little bit faster. But it is in fact optimal. You save a little bit of time on the first phase by bringing a shell from home, because you don't have to wait for her to fire it. So you can see there that he not only knew that she was gonna fire shells, but was able to kind of preempt her firing them to spin them out of the air and shoot them back at her as quickly as possible. Alright, now for one of the worst levels in the game. This is, these two next levels are probably two of my bottom 3 least favorite levels in the entire speedrun of, like, all 120 stars. This is a real fun part of the run. The funny part is that this route, which is, like I mentioned, like 30 seconds faster, replaces 2 really fun stars with 2 of the worst stars in the entire game. So this is a good route. Space Jam 3 is another one of those levels that's kind of like movement intensive with a bunch of little skips, but it's not the most fun and fulfilling level, I would say, and it can be. It's another level that ends with a very frustrating boss fight. So here he's going to be doing a little bit of an exploit. If you uncrouch and spin, it actually shifts your hitbox down, so you can use that to clip through the planet there to access the launch star. The game normally wants you to go inside the planet and run around inside it until you find the launch star, but he actually was able to utilize some kind of weird mechanics to clip through. Here he's going to skip a dialogue with Toad by just long jumping, and then here he's going to be doing another little skip. Very nice. And this is the boss fight against the giant spider, Tarantox, who is very scary. He has big pustules all over him that you have to hit by slinging Luigi into him with these sling pods. Now, this is frustrating for a number of reasons. These things are really hard to aim. He's making it look pretty easy, but it is not easy. It is actually, like, exceptionally difficult to aim them. And he's also going to be going for a fast cycle here, where you shoot the toad that is in the nearby sling pod and try to hit him in the butt with it. That is, like, I can't overstate how difficult to do that is. I've put hours into trying to learn how to do that, and my best consistency with it was like 10%. So that's fun. That was a really, really good execution of that boss fight, but it is extremely difficult to do well. And to add insult to injury, you have to sling yourself into the star, which is actually like ridiculously difficult to aim for some reason. It is really common to fire past that star by accident and just lose like 5 seconds to literally collecting the star after the level is already over.
It's a lot more simple to aim on 3D All-Stars because of the low sensitivity on the pointer. So it's a lot more easier to take your time and shoot out, which is probably like the advantage it has over like JPVC. But that's why it's like super consistent, but it's still pretty difficult.
Yeah, the 3D All-Stars version, instead of using like the Wii Remote's motion controls, obviously you don't have Wii Remotes on the Switch, so it uses the the 6-axis gyro and the Joy-Cons to move the cursors around. So it does have a little bit of a different game feel than the original game on the Wii. And opinions are kind of divided over whether you like the original or the port better. Now this is Sling Pod. This is, nobody likes this level. Everybody hates this level. It is unlocked by having 400 star bits to feed the Lumen, the observatory. Now this is a very, very cycle-based level. So he's going to be making his way through these sling pods. Now, the problem with this level is that, again, aiming the sling pods can be difficult, especially because the camera tends to change on some of them in ways that makes it hard to aim them. If he accidentally slings himself into these fire bars, he's dead, because if you launch yourself into the fire bars, you can't move while you're in the animation of Luigi burning, so you just die. And those fences at the end present a very difficult challenge for the cycle. And the reason that this level is faster is because if you can make a fast enough cycle, you actually can do it faster than the alternative levels. So not only does he need to be careful to actually make the proper movement, but if he doesn't make a fast enough cycle, he's just not even saving time doing that level in any percent run. But obviously, he's pretty good at this game, so you're gonna be saving time for the most part with that, unless you like mess up and die or something. Anyway, coming up next is Battle Rock 1. This level is pretty infamous in speedruns for having the trick that we're gonna see, which is known as Battle Rock Out of Bounds, or we also call it BROOB for short, because it's BR Battle Rock OOB, Out of Bounds. So this level's kind of, there's a few different ways to do this trick, but the version he's going to be doing utilizes another, but they all, actually all the different versions of this trick all utilize the same thing that he did in Gateway earlier, which is a glitched triple jump that goes higher than you're supposed to be able to go by doing a triple jump with a positionally precise location on a slope. Oh yeah, also that was a skip. You skipped a bunch of stuff. It's time, don't worry about it. So here he's going to be attempting that. He doesn't quite
that
get
was
the
a weak mega
precise
triple.
timing. Yeah, that was a weak one. There you go. That was much higher.
But I missed the 2B jump.
So this trick used to be.
And there we go. That should work.
We used to use for this trick that used to be commonplace. You only had one try at it. So if you messed it up, it was just you just lost like 30 seconds. This saves a lot of time, by the way. And then we figured out that there was a setup that we thought lost like 5 seconds, but it actually doesn't lose nearly that much. So that, combined with the increased consistency from being able to try it multiple times, and the fact that it's already a lot easier than the old setup, it's definitely worth losing a little bit of time to have that consistency. Shoutouts to the old setup, by the way. I put like a double-digit number of hours into practicing it, got really good at it, and then the new setup became the meta, like, immediately after I got good at it. That was great. Also, that bullet bill is a major troll. It really likes to cause problems, and breaking that cage can be very challenging. One of the nice things about two-player mode, specifically with the ability to freeze enemies in places, that you can freeze the bullet bills, but they'll still turn while they're frozen, so you can save them from crashing into things, because they really like to crash into things. So this is the first Comet Star. Prankster Comets are a mechanic in this game where a existing level is changed a little bit. It has some kind of gimmick that's ostensibly makes it harder. In this case, it is a speed run level. This game spells it as 2 words, which is funny. Where he's going to be trying to get through Space Junk 1 again, but fast. For reference, this level gives you 4 minutes to get through the level. If you had 1 minute, you could still get through it without losing to the timer. So the main obstacle in this level is not the gimmick, but instead the fact that you have to do Space Jump 1 skip again. And this time he gets it first try. So again, that trick is it's just inconsistent because Luigi randomly, not randomly, but kind of in a sense, randomly spins around in the bubble, and you just have to break out of it at the perfect time to have him facing the exact right direction to get the proper amount of momentum. Now, this is a little bit scary at the end here, because if he dies, you go all the way back to the beginning. So that's another thing about these prankster comic stars. In the normal levels, there's checkpoints, which aren't like physical checkpoints you have to hit like in other Mario games. Galaxy 2 comes to mind for that. But instead, they're just like zones that you go into that give you checkpoints. So in the normal level, there's a checkpoint right at the beginning of this section. So if you die, you only have to do the silver stars again. But in the comet stars, there are no checkpoints. So if he dies there, he has to redo the whole star from the beginning. So dying at the end there is like 30 to 45 seconds of time loss. So you gotta be a little careful if you play risky there. Alright, next is Rolling Green. This is a motion control gimmick level where you're on a ball. There are kind of three main motion control gimmicks in this game. There's manta ray surfing, which we won't see, where you tilt to control, you kind of tilt to control the manta ray as it's moving in the water. There's this ball rolling where you hold the controller, if it's a Wii remote, you hold it straight up and down and tilt it to move around. And the same thing with the Joy-Cons, it's just that it's a little bit different with Joy-Cons.
So this
and then there's the bubble blowing where you have...
for me to read out a little donation here, if that's okay with you guys.
That's perfectly fine.
There's a little skip at the beginning that I'm going to talk about, but after that you'll have a little bit of time. So you can actually skip this little tutorial if you do another level with a starball rolling section in it, but the next level with a starball rolling section in it requires like 55 stars to access, so it's not faster to do that at any percent. He's going to be doing a little trick here, jumping off the edge to land on the railing below. There's an even faster version of that trick that nobody does because it's terrible, and the rest of this level is just about maintaining good momentum with the starball. So you have a little bit of time to read a donation if you want.
Sounds good. So first of all, CJ did say in the chat that at $1,600 we will be feeding Grace Taco Bell by door dashing it straight to her door. That's Grace, aka Animated Elf, in the chat. And to get us towards that, we have an anonymous $20 donation that has a comment, "I'm on hashtag don't feed Grace, by the way," which doesn't seem like it by the fact that you donated towards an incentive that is feeding Grace. Speaking of incentives, we do have the Mario Kart Choose the Character incentive. That is the next run. Make sure you guys get your donations in for that if you want to see whatever character you want as the character to be played as for Chloe after this run. Currently, Baby Rosalina is in the lead.
I like the bitty buggy guy. I don't know what it's called. Those guys from 3D Land. What's your favorite Mario Kart World character, Ghost?
It's got to be the Penguin. I mean, 100% the Penguin.
Solid choice.
Support the Penguin. Penguin or Swooper. Those are like my top two characters. Raise money for either of them. That's what I will say.
Anyway, this level contains an intentional death. So, are we gonna do the thing where we pretend that was a mistake?
That was not supposed to happen. Oh, that was a very convenient death. Okay, put me up here.
So you skip a little bit of the level by dying there. That's actually the only optimal intentional death in the game. So, any other time he dies, it is not intentional. Just letting you know so you can point and laugh in the chat. Just kidding, don't do that. Be nice. But anyway, there's some cycle-based movement with the thwomps here, and then he's going to be going for a pretty cool trick here. So Bowser appears and kind of tries to mess you up with these fireballs, but he's going to be jumping up to the boss fight trigger to start the fight. Now, interestingly enough, you actually can't do that before you hit that cutscene, because if you land up there and you haven't triggered that cutscene where he starts firing the meteors, it soft locks the game. So you just can't. You have to trigger that cutscene first. And there he did the first of a number of strats in the game in these Bowser fights, which involves canceling Bowser's attacks. So he has kind of a shockwave attack, a fire breath attack, and then he has the slam where he slams onto these blue glass things to burn himself. And you're going to be seeing him very carefully maneuvering through Bowser's attacks and spinning into Bowser at the right time to cancel them, so that Bowser not only jumps up and slams on the blue glass as quickly as possible, but also that Luigi is in the right spot, because pretty much as soon as Bowser's AI recognizes that it's time to start doing that attack, he decides where he's going to slam based on Luigi's position. So he actually had to make sure to be in the right spot before Bowser even jumped up in the air, so that Bowser would slam onto the spot he was expecting him to.
I do that section a lot more differently compared to like other runners, because the normal way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to hit Bowser's chin, but you can also crouch underneath him with this and hit his tail. So those are like the two main ways that people do it. I just find it more convenient for me to hit his tail, but different strokes for different folks.
If you hit the front of his face instead of the underside of his face, you get knocked backwards instead of down. And so again, it's about staying on that blue glass thing. And this is a 43 fountain exit, which is pretty darn good.
Especially if I got Good Egg 2 skip like first try and that Honey I Have 3 went better, I mean, this would have been a pretty solid run, but we've gotten a lot of stuff to showcase, so I mean, I'm pretty satisfied so far. But yeah, the two hardest domes are officially out of the way.
Pretty much. There's no like major mistakes apart from Good Egg 2. I don't remember any. So coming up next is the kitchen. The kitchen is like where good early games go to die. You finally get your good early game. And then you run up against the brick wall that is the kitchen. Now, the kitchen is actually not as bad, not nearly as bad as it is in the 120-star speedrun. In the 120-star speedrun, this dome contains the only levels in the run which have any luck element to them. So in this section of the run, in the 100% speedrun, the 120-star speedrun, you can also lose like 30 seconds to luck that is completely out of your control. But thankfully, in any percent, those levels are not fast, so we don't have to do them. Which means that the any percent speedrun in this game has absolutely no, like barring extremely minor things like randomly moving enemies, this game has absolutely no luck in it. It's pretty much 100% execution. It's like 99% execution, which is pretty nice for a speedrun. Especially when you look at something like Mario Sunshine, that's like a bunch of really hard levels, and then randomly it's like you can get 20 extra cycles on King Boo and lose your run or whatever. Anyway, that was Beach Balloon. We just skipped the entire level. You're supposed to dive into the water, swim around, find 5 star chips, which spawns a launch star that you can use to get up there, but they forgot to like put anything in the game that prevents you from just jumping up there. So you can kind of just jump up there and skip the entire intended puzzle, which is kind of a central theme of a lot of skips in this game. Some of them are pretty flashy and cool looking, but a lot of them are like the game's in 3D. You can just go around the thing. The game, you can jump, you can go over the thing. It makes the game pretty fun and intuitive to speedrun, because a lot of the movement is just kind of doing things a little, in a way that's a little bit unintended, but isn't completely breaking the game wide open. Now, this level is essentially filler. This would actually be a good time for any donations or anything. You just have to grab the gold shell from the penguins, and that gold shell doesn't spawn until you talk to the coach here, so you have to talk to the coach, grab the gold shell from the swimming penguins, and then get back. So this is if you have any announcements, donations, anything, this is a good time to rattle them off real quick.
Yeah, and $5 we feed Grace. That is, you don't have to put that towards the donation incentive when you go to donate. But speaking of that, when you go to donate on Tiltify, right now there are both targets and polls. Polls are like your bid wars. Like we said just a minute ago, we have the Mario Kart character choice up on the bid wars there. So go vote for that. And you can do both with the same dollar donation. You can also put it towards the incentives. And right now we have the Pokemon Sapphire bonus exhibition tonight that we're trying to reach right now. We're at $25 out of $150 right now on that. So go donate towards that, please. Thank you.
I can vouch for that. I follow the Pokemon speedrunning community, and Pokemon Sapphire in particular has had a huge explosion of activity recently. There's been a very active glitch hunting scene for a very long while now, but recently a new route was found, like the past couple of months, that saves like an hour off the any percent speedrun. So
And the runner for that run, Blue Magma, has already showcased in a previous marathon for us some excellent gameplay in the Pokemon series. So I'm very much looking forward to
an extremely talented runner of that game. He's one of the best out there, and he knows a lot about the glitches too. So this level is Beach Bowl 3. This is another kind of cycle-based, movement-based level, but there's also a pretty sizable skip in it. It's going to be taking advantage of some of the weird kind of wall jump mechanics of the game. So basically, there's a kind of, you're meant to go around in kind of a circle here to get to the crystal at the end of the level. But you can actually do a kind of weird looking jump here that uses the curvature of the planet in a specific way to get up to the crystal, and that is, I would say, a pretty good amount harder than it looks. That is actually, there's some precision to that is a little difficult to intuit just from looking at it, but it's
that
really
strat
cool.
I did also is a fairly new strat that I found a couple of weeks ago, so shout out to the jump there. Normally what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to do like the casual method. You can actually like just go around normally, but there is another way of doing that shortcut, which involves doing a long jump near like the midpoint of the level and hold up left, but it's a lot more inconsistent because playing on the Joy-Cons, you don't have,
it makes it a lot harder.
yeah, if you don't have notches. So I actually just do that strat instead. It's a lot more consistent and I value consistency, and the strat looks cool.
Yeah, the normal strat in this level was one of the things that people had a lot of trouble with when they switched to the Switch version of the game, because of the fact that the normal setup that is done on the Wii U version requires you to hold multiple different notches, which is not easy on the version of the game where the controllers don't have any. So this is the third kind of motion control gimmick level. We talked about the mantis surfing. We talked about the ball rolling. This is the bubble blowing levels. You have a fan attached to your cursor and you blow air to move this bubble around. And this level also contains a skip. There's this entire second half of the level, and you can skip the whole thing. This is a decently well-known skip, and is also extremely easy. Like, you could do that right now. You could get your copy of the game out and do that right now. That's like, in my opinion, if there's any trick in the game that's like a baby's first galaxy skip, it's that. It's extremely easy. It loses basically no time to fail it because you respawn literally exactly where you land out of that launch star, and then it also saves a lot of time. Like, it's so much that nobody even measures it. Just everybody does it in runs, even at a beginner level. So coming up next is Beach Bowl Secret. This level is a pretty fun level. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best levels in Kitchen. It's a ton of cool platforming. And this level uses the fan favorite Ice Flower power-up, which for some reason they didn't bring back in Galaxy 2, even though it's really cool. Basically, the gimmick of this level is you're meant to use the Ice Flower, which creates water, which creates ice platforms on water to make your way through this level. And he's going for the version of this level that does not include using the Ice Flower, where you instead use the Cataquack there to launch yourself and then do some relatively precise platforming to get up here. And then he's going to be also skipping the Ice Flower the second time by just doing a jump to the star here. Now there is actually like 3 different ways you can get to that star. You can use the Ice Flower to do a jump there, you're supposed to lure the cataquack below the star and use it to launch yourself into the star, but that's way too slow. You can do a jump into the star with the ice flower, you can jump off the wall, or you can do a 2P jump into it. And all of those work kind of equally well. That movement where you don't use the ice flower, it saves about a second, but it lowers your margin of error significantly in that level. Alright, coming up here is Ghostly 1. This level is another pretty notorious level because the end of it contains a really precise trick. Recently, an alternative strat was found that is a little bit slower but significantly more consistent, especially if you're doing it without notches. If you're doing it with notches, it's not too bad, but the trick at the end of this level is really difficult to do without them. So, before we get to that, though, we're going to talk about the Rainbow Star. The Rainbow Star in Super Mario Galaxy is kind of, it's somewhat similar to the Rainbow Star in other Mario games. Basically, the way it works is that as you run, you build up momentum. And as long as you don't bump into any walls or hit any enemies or anything like that, you don't lose that momentum. So there, he actually did some pretty specific movement to keep his momentum through that door, and then also to gain back some of it while he collected that key from the Boo. And by doing that, he was able to make a faster cycle on those moving star chips in this room. And here he's gonna try to just jump into the launch star there. Nice. That is.
Alright, I'm gonna go for this once, and if not, then I'll just do the regular strat.
This is the newish trick. There's like, you can skip the intended way of doing this section, but this is a faster version to skip the intended way of doing this section. Let's see.
Oh, let's go! That was first try.
Let's go.
I can't believe that happened.
If you get up really high there, the roof of the mansion has no collision. You can just go through it. The other way to do that is to go through the mansion from underneath. If you the normal strat is to just clip into the mansion, grab the Boo mushroom, and use it to get into the room with Luigi. But you can also do a really precise version that involves kind of walking on a very small, invisible, out-of-bounds ledge to get into the room with Luigi without collecting the Boo mushroom. And that gave people a lot of trouble, but then it was eventually discovered that you can clip through the top of the mansion instead, and there's another way to do it that no one does because it's harder and slower. So there's 4 different ways to skip the intended way of doing that section. And,
I also want to give a huge shout out to Shard.
He just golded getting that first try. So GG to that.
I want to give a shout out to Shard for finding that trick again. It was really convenient, and the only thing you kind of have to worry about is the angle you're really like having out of the pull star, because again, the angle you get is pretty random. So aside from that, that's a pretty consistent trick. I mean, I normally don't go for it because consistency, but decided to show it off, and that looked pretty good. So pretty happy with the execution.
Pretty cool to see him get it first try, a trick that he doesn't normally go for. So yeah, Luigi kind of idly spins around in the pull star bubble, and when you break out of it, he actually breaks out at the angle he's facing. So it's difficult to manage the exact angle. Now this is Sweet. This level is a long jump simulator. Ideally, he's gonna get one smooth, perfect chain of long jumps, and he's never gonna have to do any spins or adjustments. So while we're doing this, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what he did before the level. He talked to Luigi in the observatory. So when you're playing as Mario, there's a couple levels where you save Luigi. And when you're playing as Luigi, those levels, you still save Luigi, so there's just like another Luigi. The 2 Luigis actually have like slightly different models and stuff, which is a little weird. But one of the things that you get out of talking to Luigi there is after you save him for the first time in the level he did earlier, if you talk to him in the observatory, there's a few times where he will appear in other levels, and one of those levels is literally the fastest level in the game. So it's worth it to go out of the way a little bit to talk to Luigi there, and the reason he did it in the specific spot he did is because when the launch star spawns after you feed the hungry Luma, it takes a little bit of time before you can actually go through it. So he runs away, goes and talks to Luigi, and then comes back. there because you have to wait a little bit of time anyway, so the animation or the delay becomes less of a big deal. So this is the aforementioned fastest level in the game.
Also the hardest.
You have to find Luigi. Dora the Explorer, can you find Luigi? Where is he? That jump he did up to the top of the house, by the way, is absolutely awful. It's really bad. Because of a thing in this game that we call spin bonking, which we shouldn't have to talk about if it doesn't happen. But basically, if you spin too close to when you do a wall jump, the game just doesn't let you wall jump, it just kicks you off the wall. And if that happens, it's like so Jover in that level. You can accidentally talk to the door on Yoshi's house and lose a bunch of time, which, by the way, fun fact, you can talk to the door on the house in that level because there's just a sign inside the collision where you can't see. They didn't give you the ability to talk to the door, they just put a sign inside. If you clip the camera into the house, you can see there's just a signpost inside the house, which is kind of funny. Alright, Honey Hive comment. This is a race against Cosmic Luigi. Cosmic Luigi is a different character from Cosmic Mario. As both characters, you race like an evil clone version of yourself. But Cosmic Luigi is actually a little bit faster. Obviously, he gets absolutely mogged by a speedrunner, including the strat he's going to be doing here. You can get a start boost by holding some specific angles and holding up on the controller and pressing A within a 5-frame window at the start of the race. And the better you time that A press, the better boost you get. And there he went for an extremely difficult,
I'm just gonna do the regular strat.
Movement strat where you skip a little bit, you cut off a little bit more of the level. Unfortunately, he failed it, but that is really difficult to do, so it's pretty reasonable to be failing it. And this is the normal strat. So as you can see, the strat that he did, you get a little bit of a better position, but it is a lot harder, like by a pretty significant amount. So that was so the funny part about those Cosmic Luigi race levels is that they're actually rigged, but they're rigged in your favor. Cosmic Luigi can touch the star a few frames after you do, and you'll still win. You can touch the star a few frames after Cosmic Luigi does, and you'll still win. So basically, I think the intention there is that they programmed it in so that if you both touch the star at the same time, you win. Which makes it so that it feels a little bit less garbo if you barely beat him out. So next we're heading to Beach Bowl Comet. This is the ending planet from Beach Bowl 3 again, but the enemies move fast. So again, for speedrunners, it's not really a big difference. It's just like a slightly different cycle. But this is another really fast level because it's just one planet. Some of the time, the prankster comments have like half the level deleted for some reason, and some of the time it's just a level you've already done, but again. So kind of, this is a phenomenon that also exists in Galaxy 2. Some of the prankster comments are levels that are super fast, and you like pretty much always want to do them at 90%, and some of them are levels that are like really slow that you'd never do at 90% because like half the levels in the game are faster. And again, getting that suspicious jump up to the top. That's another depth perception thing. If you spin too early, you won't make it to the platform, and if you spin too late, you'll get trapped under it and die. So, very nice to see that first try. The next level is a race against everybody's favorite character, the spooky speedster, who is a boo that wears like a drag racing helmet. He's the GOAT. Gotta love the spooky speedster. He's my favorite character in this game when I was a kid. That's not a joke. A good time in this race is like around 40 seconds. Like if you're really pogged at it, you can get a sub 40, but nobody likes practicing this level. So very few people are good enough to actually get sub 40s. But this level is pretty self-explanatory, so if you have any announcements, donations, or anything else to talk about, now would be another good time for that.
I'd also like to mention, if you guys want to guess the time I will get in the chat, go ahead.
Yeah, so that would be, a good guess would be around 40 seconds, give or take, like, 2, and it's going to be to 2 decimal places, and it can't end in 2, 4, 6, or 9. So 40.21 is acceptable, but 40.26 is impossible. No, sorry, 40.27 is impossible. Can't end in 2, 4, 7, or 9. I get confused.
But yeah, Quill, if you got any donations, you're perfect timing.
Absolutely. First of all, we got a $5 donation from Shu saying, "Feed our girl," so that way Grace got her Taco Bell. It is ordered. I saw a picture of it in the Discord. And then after that, we got a $20 donation from Blue Magma, the Pokemon Sapphire runner, for later in the show here, saying, "Great set of runs planned for this weekend of SDAT. Good luck, runners." Both of them put their money towards the bonus exhibition in Pokemon Sapphire. Also, Blue Magma put his donation towards the Stingbee character for the Mario Kart World playthrough, which puts Stingbee in the lead with $106. Baby Rosalina with 100, and Cow with 44 in third. So if you want to get your favorite character, especially if it's Cow, you have a much better shot. Good luck, and go donate.
4176. Someone in chat said it's too much information. It's not my fault this game doesn't know when milliseconds are. Super Mario Odyssey, they fixed it in Mario Odyssey. Like, you can actually get every time in Mario Odyssey. You can't in this game, though. Just skip some numbers because there's only 60 frames in a second. I don't know how it works in Odyssey. I just know that it doesn't do that in Odyssey. Sorry, I thought you were doing Ghostly 3 for a second. Anyway, I was like, why is he going into Ghostly? Ghostly 3's level you don't do in any percent because it's bad. So this is Ghostly's secret. He's gonna be going through a hidden launch star here to access a part of the level that uses a gimmick that's kind of used a couple times in this game. Basically, there's like kind of a moving spotlight that makes the platforms visible and tangible. But he's going to be doing a little bit of a sequence break here to skip kind of part of the intended puzzle in this level. Basically, the ground, like the collision, the floors and walls are not solid while they're invisible, but the objects are. So there he actually jumped on top of an invisible door to get up to the star without having to slowly watch the auto-scroller scroll the level into existence to get up there. Now, that is much harder than it looks. You have to jump off the door, and the top of it is a slope, so it tries to slide you off. So you actually can't, like, land on it and take your time to adjust your jump. You actually have to just, like, jump off of it. And not to mention, he got the most scuffed execution of that skip I've ever seen in my entire life.
100%.
That was terrifying. I can't believe you got it, actually. That was a good backup on his part. Anyway, another level with Bowser Jr. that we're gonna skip like half of. This is Airship Armada. Now, you have to, you're meant to use cannons to fire between the ships, but they kind of overlooked the fact that you can just use this cannon to skip like an entire ship, so you can just fire off to the side here and skip a decent chunk of the level by just doing that. And you use the pull star there to get out of the cannon animation. And then here he's gonna be probably trying to do a jump to the bridge here. This is a bit of a risky jump. Basically, you can go like super early there, but you risk one of two things happening. You risk obviously missing the jump, and sometimes the game just eats your momentum and you just die because you just happen to not get momentum off that moving platform, and that's very frustrating when it happens. So this is the boss fight against Bowser Jr. This whole thing is a giant cycle, and this game has a really useful quote-unquote feature where when you fire a green shell and there's an enemy like in front of you, the game tries to auto-aim the green shell at the enemy, which we don't want it to do that. So he's actually very carefully avoiding the interactions with the auto-aim so that the green shell doesn't just like, Luigi doesn't just snap 45 degrees perpendicular and throw the green shell at the Magikoopas instead of the Bowser Jr. ship.
Oh, so
Now,
that was a very overwhelming level.
He got there was a little scuffed at the end there, and the reason why is because that boss fight gets very spammy with the enemies very quickly, and especially if you miss one of the shots or have trouble getting one of the shells with your like pre-planned movement, it can be kind of challenging to recover from that because there's just so many enemies. And so many of them can block the shells if you try to throw them at Bowser Jr. Alright, 107-10 first half. That is actually, like, pretty solid for a no reset, considering the, like, 2 mistakes he's made so far in an hour of gameplay.
From here to the end of the run, it's pretty much, like, the exact same length. So, we're on pretty solid pace. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. This is the first half, we call it that, not just because we're like halfway through the collectible number of stars, but also because we're halfway through the time of the run, and then also it's like the end of a world, you know. So this is kind of like the area of the run that most people consider to be the midpoint. So talking to Toad there is pretty important. You need to remember to do that, because if you don't talk to Toad, one of the levels in Fountain here doesn't spawn, and then you just can't do it. So you best not forget. It's really easy to forget though, and if you do, it's pretty much run over unless you remember to go back, and even if you do remember to go back, it still loses a lot of time. So it's a good thing he remembered, because I didn't remember. So this is Hurry Scurry. This level is another short and gimmicky level. These green platforms, they shrink and disappear when you step on them. Hilariously enough, you can mitigate the entire challenge of this level because the green platforms can be frozen with the 2P cursor, which I don't know why they did that, because it like makes the level super easy. So this level is basically all movement. He's going to be trying to collect these notes as optimally as possible in order to spawn the star. Just taking kind of good lines here to collect them. And once all the notes are collected, the star spawns in the middle of the planet, so he needs to get to it as quickly as possible. He can walk off pretty much anywhere and just ground pound to grab the star. It's not like you can't miss it, because the game pulls you towards the middle of the planet. So that's pretty nice. Alright, coming up next is Battle Rock L. This level is Battle Rock 1 again, because this is a secret star that spawns inside of Battle Rock 1, and at the end, it spawns at the very, very end of the level, so you basically just need to do the same level that you already did again. So this is the reason, I mean, that Battle Rock Out of Bounds trick I talked about is infamous for a number of reasons, but this is one of them. This level is done twice in any percent, pretty much, and you used to only have one attempt at this trick per level, so getting 2 out of 2 of this Battle Rock Out of Bounds skip used to be really hard. It used to be, like, before, with the old setup, I'm pretty sure there's, like 5 people who have gotten 2 out of 2 in a run. I'm one of them, not to brag.
Yeah, shout out Marco.
With the old setup, that's just because I put way too much time into it. That was a bad run too. I'm still mad about that. Anyway, so the out of bounds movement, by the way, is a lot harder than it looks. It's extremely finicky. You have to like charge up your long jump momentum and then like hold the cursor in the opposite direction you want to move. Long jump and then like flick the cursor in the other direction to get your momentum. It's very challenging to do properly, but you can kind of see like one of the Luigis looks a little bit brighter, like his greens look a little brighter. That's not just like an optical illusion, that's because the Luigis actually have different models for some reason. If you like look very carefully, one of the Luigis is taller than the other, I think, and then they have like slightly different clothes as well. So this is supporting my theory that one of the Luigis is just a straight up imposter. Like the explanation the game gives is when you rescue Luigi, he goes, Oh my, are you me? Well, I guess there's enough people in the universe for one person to look like me. And then it just doesn't explain why there's two Luigis. So
Yeah.
that's the explanation is that it's just some guy who wants to cosplay. And he just dresses up like Luigi. That's my headcanon. Anyway, Freeze Flame 1 contains a skip. Hey Ghost, are you going for Freeze Flame?
That's a good question, because a couple of days ago I did get it, but if I do, but like, I got like the triple gem part, but
Yeah, so
everything else after that, no way, I can't.
The joke is that there is one person started going for this skip in the year 2025, like a month ago. It's like one of the last theoretically RTA viable things we haven't really found a good setup for yet. So there's.
I want to give a huge shout out to Pablo and Psyduck, because they're the two people who put in a lot of time into this, and wanted to give a shout out to Mario and Traffic Lights fan as well for figuring out the thing as well. We'll explain a little bit more about Mario and Traffic Lights fan later, but for now, yeah, that was
He found that. He found another skip we're gonna be doing, and he found the RTA method for Crystal Float, which ruined the entire game. So
Yeah.
shout out to him for that. I'm just kidding, by the way. I mean, not about the ruining the game part, but I don't blame him. Anyway, so that's the ice flower. You're seeing the ice flower a little bit here, and this is the boss fight against Baron Burr. Shoutouts to Baron Barrett.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, this is the boss fight. You're meant to it kind of works like the ice bubbles that appear in different parts of this galaxy. You spin to kind of make them vulnerable, and then you spin again. This can actually be you can get kind of messed up by this fight. Sometimes you spin next to him and the game's like, try again, and then you just get hit. It's pretty silly. That level likes to troll you, but it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. Freeze Flame 2 is the next level we're going to be doing. It is kind of central to the themes of Freeze Flame Galaxy. The first level is an ice level. This is a lava level, and then there's another level, Freeze Flame 3, that's both combined together. So he's going to be doing a lot of movement in the lava sections, as well as some lava boosting to skip some intended stuff and some gravity shenanigans as well. So this is a level that's a pretty good example of like the way that Super Mario Galaxy speedruns kind of break the game. Instead of having like big glitches or whatever, they just have a lot of small skips where you avoid doing things the intended way. Also, these starships are like the worst thing ever. You have to stop for a very specific amount of time because they don't become collectible as soon as you break the crystals. There's like a little bit of a delay. So if you try to go too fast there, you'll just phase right through the starships and you won't pick them up. He almost did it on the last one. He went a little early on the last one. So if you watch the video back, you actually would be able to see him kind of pass through it for a little bit before he collects it. So doing a bit of a skip here. This is actually like a massive sequence break, even though it is extremely simple to do. That saves a lot of time doing that skip. And then he's going to be doing a little gravity skip here to get to the other side of the planet once again, and picking up the fire flower, which is used like once to light torches. That's pretty much the only utility of the fire flower, is to light torches, because you never use it apart from that, because it takes some time to pick it up, and then it also, again, it kind of limits your movement in some weird ways. One thing about that section that can be kind of tricky is that if you take damage there, because you only have 2 health and the way cutscenes work in this game, if you take damage there, it delays the start of the cutscene. So you can take damage and it will cause the gate to not open. So there are some clips of people like dying because they thought the gate would open and they could like lava bounce into the star, and instead they just die. Anyway, this is Gusty Garden Galaxy. This level is this galaxy's music is probably the biggest fan favorite music in maybe all of Mario. I would say it's up there for sure. This is everybody likes this music, and for good reason. I mean, I think it's kind of overrated, but that's only because it's like so unbelievably popular. But it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Also, shoutouts to the Swag Piranha Plant Bounce, and these floaty fluffs, which are really weird. The kind of wind currents and the way they work is a little bit.
I got it. Yes, I got it.
So if you kind of jump, the floaty fluffs conserve your momentum to an extent, so it's a little faster to long jump into them. But there he did a kind of suspicious jump into the floaty fluff, which causes it to get a ton of speed for no reason. Who found that? Was that you,
it
or
was
it
Tackle. Shout out to Tackle for finding that by accident. Because he was like, oh, what were to happen if I go into the fluff pressing the 1PA and the 2PA? And I was like,
Wait,
that happens.
That's funny. No.
There we go.
You gotta watch out, dude, bro. You gotta watch out for that. So that is he did a quick catch strat on the bunny there, where he used the momentum of jumping around the planet to catch the bunny, but he landed on top of it, which actually totally messes you up. That was a really good recovery there that he managed. So basically, if you land on top of the bunny for whatever reason, it doesn't cause Luigi to catch it. You have to run into it from the side. So in order to catch that bunny, he had to land next to it and not let it get away from him. And this is Freeze Flame's secret. This level is, Freeze Flame 3. I read the splits wrong. This level is the aforementioned kind of. It's literally called in English. It's literally called Hot and Cold Collide. It's the gimmick is it's the truest representation of Freeze Flame Galaxy. And anyway, you can skip the entire first planet, just jump around the side like that. That is literally as easy as it looks. There's no invisible wall or anything. You just jump. Actually saves a lot of time too. And here he needs to light these 2 torches on the platform he just landed on. So he's gonna go all the way around the planet, collect a fire flower, and then come all the way back.
Also, I just wanted to mention really quickly, Marco, that was a technique I did called an insta-walk. So if you turn 180 degrees a few frames before you enter the launch star, you get the ability to instantly walk rather than having to camera cancel and cancel your landing lag. So that's just another advanced technique, but in general, just something that I've been doing throughout the run that people may not have been noticing is I've just been canceling my landing animation, because as Marcos mentioned before, it does lose a bit of time due to the landing lag.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a landing animation. You're gonna see it here. Your options to cancel that landing animation out of the launch star are to either before you go through the previous one to turn. I think it's a 7-frame window you have to turn, and it cancels your landing animation automatically. Or you can very quickly go in and out of first-person mode to cancel that landing animation. Also, fun fact about this section, it looks like you're skating on lava, but you're not. The way that the developers made that work with the ice flower, allowing it to create the ice platforms on the lava, was that the lava is there, and the lava is surrounded by boxes of invisible water. So there's actually a task to that level that does that section without the ice flower by just swimming in the invisible water to get across the platforms. Anyway, if there was a way to light those torches without the fire flower, it would be super useful, because going to get the fire flower wastes a ton of time. If this were The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and you could do QPA action swap to light the torches, it would be pretty poggers, but you can't, unfortunately. Anyway, there's a skip in this level that saves 50 seconds that was found in 2023 by Mario and Traffic Light Fan. It's weird. It's hard to explain. There's there's some weird gravity stuff you can do, and if you do a jump at the right angle with the right position, you can get a gravity skip that skips not only half of this level, but half of the worst part of this level, which is already one of the worst levels in the game. Oh yeah, silo jump. Shoutouts to Silo93 for finding that one. Anyway, this is the trick that was found
How's working?
a couple years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's working by a mile. Anyway, so he just skipped a really awful cycle-based planet that nobody likes and a bunch of cutscenes, essentially. So, yeah, that was a big skip. Actually, when it was found, it kind of reinvigorated a lot of people's interest in the category. It saves 50 seconds, and it skips a really bad level. So, it's kind of like the kind older brother to Good Egg 2 skip. Instead of being hard and skipping a mediocre level, it's easy and skips a bad level, and it saves around the same amount of time. Anyway, this is Major Burrows, who is a very scary mole enemy, and he actually did some like kind of advanced strategy there, using some tricky movement to get Major Burrows to pop out of the ground as quickly as possible, so that he could make Major Burrows vulnerable as soon as possible.
Also,
Alright, so
don't
that-
ask me why, but just don't YouTube me jump in that fight. Don't you think about it.
It causes a really funny glitch to happen.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure it loses time. Anyway, this is Freeze Flame's secret. This level is like pure movement. It is 100%. It is a very movement intensive level, and it's also really fun. This is probably, I would say, like most runners agree that this is like a top tier level.
Probably
This is
one
a
of
really
my
good
favorite
level.
levels to do in the 80% speedrun. Like, I'm not even joking. This was like such a fun level to optimize.
Yeah, in the midst of bedroom, which is normally kind of a, you know, you go to bedroom, you go to sleep. It's kind of like a not particularly thrilling part of the run. This
It's also
is like
really
a good-
scary
to get
because
your-
that's where a lot of the
get
time
your
loss
sleep back,
happens.
you know? Yeah, bedroom is like the bleeding time. The bleeding time, like you fall asleep, you stop paying attention because you're bored, and then you bleed time, and then you lose your run, and it's great. Anyway, some kind of specific skating movement across those platforms, and using the mid-air jump offered by the two-player mode to do some platforming there, and then he's gonna use the fire flower here. And one of the key pieces of tech he's using is that you can actually spin and then immediately jump to throw fireballs and not lose time out of the landing, the back half of the animation of throwing a fireball, which kind of has a little bit of lag to it. So use that to chain it into a triple jump there, which is really nice. And then making his way up to the top here and grabbing the star. Very
That was
clean.
very well
really
executed,
good.
by the way.
That was really good. Nice. That level feels so good to get right. And honestly, it's one of those that like you kind of want it to go well, especially because it's so fun to practice. But that's a really fun level to do. All right, the next level is another short race against Cosmic Luigi in a frozen over version of the ending section from Freeze Flame 3. This is a level where we haven't talked about it, but every single time you land into a galaxy at the very start of it, you can time a frame-perfect jump to skip a little animation, and normally that saves like half a second. In this level, it saves a lot more time because you can do it into the cutscene of the Cosmic Luigi spawning. He didn't get it there, but it saves a lot of time in this level. This is another good time if you have any donations, anything to talk about. This level and the like kind of start of the next level is a good time to mention it.
Yeah, so as before, we still have the Mario Kart World character choice open. I feel like that could be a very heated battle, so get your donations in if you'd like to request one of those characters. If you have a favorite, go ahead and get a donation in to request that character. But a little bit about the charity that we are providing for, or donating towards. Did you know that $50, just $50, can supply a home water filter so girls spend their days in school and not fetching water. It gives them the opportunity for an education that they would otherwise not get to have. So our donations that we're collectively providing here are going towards things like that to help save these kids.
Personal anecdote, I took an environmental sciences class recently, and man, living in a first world country really makes you forget how hard it is to have access to clean water and stuff like that. You take it for granted very easily. So, it's a good cause.
Yeah, please get those donations, and again, huge shout out to Speed Ducks for doing all this work and allowing me to run again. DJ and CC are awesome people, so shout out to them as well. But yeah, get those donations and let's help them out.
Alright, so this level is Dusty Garden 3. This level is kind of... I actually like this level a lot. I think maybe I like it more than some people do. It's got some cool movement in it, but one of the really fun parts is this little section where he's going to be collecting a bunch of star chips. This is like some fun movement, but another thing that makes it fun is that you can freeze these electric ball things. I think these are amps, technically. You can freeze them with 2P, which allows you to kind of flexibly make the cycles not a problem. And he actually jumped over the coins there, because if you collect any coins in a level, it produces an extra text box at the end saying, you got some coins, even though coins do nothing in this game. So he did that on purpose to avoid the text box, and that was the big boy jump. Skipping a huge chunk of this ending section here by just jumping to these deactivated blocks. You're meant to use a sequence of switches to flip the gravity. He did that once, but he also uses the platforming available to him to skip part of it. And that's another section where those running speed long jumps, jumping off the edge to get some extra speed on your jump, makes that trick a lot easier because you get just a little bit more distance off of it. Gusty Garden Comet is another battle against Major Burrows, except this time you only have 1 health. So, I don't know about you, Ghost, but I personally like to play a little safer in this level because sometimes I get, like, you get the Major Burrows pops out of the ground behind you, nothing personnel kid, and you just die. That
actually happens, yes. I will take it safe.
It's definitely a lot scarier to do the optimal movement in this level when you only have 1 health, because sometimes Major Burrows also has a huge hitbox. Like, the game is very faithful to the hitbox of Major Burrows. One thing that I learned when I started speedrunning Mario Odyssey, in that game all the hitboxes are really generous. Like, you can go through like half of every enemy's attacks, like every boss's attack. In this game, that is not the case. They are very mean. Well, not mean, but they're fair with a lot of the hitboxes. And then when you like get hit by Major Burrows, you're like, that's not fair, even though it technically is.
But yeah, unlike Gusty Garden 2, the RNG I did get, quote-unquote RNG, it is possible to, like, try and guess where he goes. So I tried my best to, like, make sure he spawned at the top, but he spawned at the bottom. But other than that, I mean, pretty solid. At least I didn't die.
I think if it's because you always start the boss fight at the same time in this version of the level, you can actually manipulate where he pops out of the ground by doing specific movement, but nobody except for Mr. Cloud Kirby understands how it works. By the way, shoutouts to Mr. Cloud Kirby, the world record holder in this category. Took like a multiple year break from the game, came back and started like destroying the world record in like every category. And by every category I mean this one. But also is like extremely good at this video game. Definitely follow him on Twitch at twitch.tv/MrCloudKirby if you want to see some extremely high level speedruns of this game. His gameplay is so good. It's actually really
I think I also is the one who named the trick earlier I got in Ghostly 1. Eugenie Bouchard.
Eugenie Bouchard.
I am not joking, that is actually what I call it now.
We're really good at naming stuff.
Yes.
We have such strats as Amogus Climb, Sigma Jump. There's Eugenie Bouchard. There's another silly one that I'm currently forgetting because I'm dumb. Anyway, that was Gusty Garden's secret. There's a suspicious golden chomp that you have to break open with the Rainbow Star. That level can kind of troll you because if you miss one of those question mark coins, the Rainbow Star just doesn't spawn. If you're lucky, you miss one you can go back for, and if you're not, you just have to like exit the level and start over, which is awesome. Anyway, coming up next is Honeyclimb Galaxy. This is a level that utilizes the bee mushroom, and you're gonna see just how slow movement with the bee mushroom is. However, one of the nice things about this level is that you can do a little bit of a movement exploit, which is that basically, it's hard to explain, and I don't think anybody really has a perfect understanding of how it works, but if you have the bee mushroom and you're clinging to a wall, facing like directly up, and you jump off the wall and immediately spin, you get like an extremely high amount of momentum for some reason. So he's using that here to scale this wall really fast. He tried.
You can do it in one hit. You could have done it in one go, but I messed up at the beginning, so.
Yeah, if you grab that bee mushroom while sliding on the wall and then immediately jump off and spin, it's like it sets up your position and angle in such a way that you just go flying up the wall like really, really fast. It's pretty cool. This horizontal section, you can see why we never pick out the bee mushroom. It's super slow. Obviously, we need it in this level because that's the whole gimmick of this level. But as soon as we get back to a vertical section, we're gonna go back to climbing on the wall. That's another manifestation of the same trick. You can bump up against an enemy or an object with a spin to get the momentum. And there he got absolutely trolled by one of the most frustrating parts of this level, which is that the honeycombs like protrude out a little bit, and you can actually like bump up against the side of them. So there he was trying to land on that honeycomb, but he was too far, like he was too close to the wall, and he was just bumping up against it. And I don't know, that would have tilted me really hard if that happened to me in a run. So props to him for staying composed and getting that back up nice and quick. So,
yeah, especially on 3D All-Stars, since you can't like perfectly face up when you like flick up, you kind of have to like wait a little bit to like make sure Luigi's actually like facing perfectly up. Otherwise, he just doesn't get the boost. So
yeah,
that's just one disadvantage I think 3DS has.
The more like perfectly straight up he's facing, the better boost you get.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So this level is Bowser's Dark Matter Plant. This level is another movement gauntlet. Like the entire thing is extremely movement oriented. Shoutouts to the Quadruple Fisto, another extremely well-named Super Mario Galaxy strat that is in this level and extremely hard. The kind of gimmick of this level is the moving platforms and the gravity fields. So of course we're going to be skipping pretty much all of that. And here's kind of a cool little trick here. Going flying around the corner there. I find that very fun to do. Anything that uses the gravity mechanics in this game is really fun to execute in speedruns. And here he's going to be doing what we call plus skip. By kind of specifically timing a jump and spin, you can get Luigi to fall through that gravity field in such a way that you can skip the entire slow-moving auto-scroller section there. And then this jump, which is really scary. Oh, barely made it. That is much harder than it looks, by the way. That jump is really stupid.
I normally don't go for that in runs, but decided to make an exception.
That because I can't figure out how to do it consistently. Like, I showed a clip of me failing it to another runner, and I said, why did this fail? And they said, I don't know. And I said, awesome. Guess I'm dropping it. Anyway, in this fight, Bowser studied Mario and Luigi extensively and has figured out how to do the spin himself. Unfortunately, you can spin mog him by spinning into his spin, and that cancels his spin. So by kind of specifically timing his inputs here, he can cancel Bowser's spin attacks. This Bowser fight is significantly harder than the first one, not only because it's a lot more timing specific, but also because sometimes the game just decides you lose, and Bowser will hit you even though you didn't do anything wrong. And that's very annoying when it happens as well. Bowser also, he actually he has to cancel his spin animations by doing jumps or other kinds of tricky techniques, because if you just spin into Bowser spins, your spins don't come back fast enough to cancel all of Bowser's attacks. So that fight is pretty challenging. It's definitely a lot harder than it looks, at least.
Aside
now we
from
obtain our next grand star. And,
this level went pretty well. I'm very happy with this.
That went about as well as you can ask for in a no reset. That was
It could have gone a lot worse, because everything in that level is death certified. You can die to anything in that level. So
yeah, the dark purple, the dark matter, the dark purple stuff everywhere, that's a one-hit kill. If you touch it, you die. And it's pretty. Again, it's one of those things where they were not generous to the player. The hitboxes are very easy to just brush up against and die randomly. So that's cool. Anyway, moving on to Engine Room. Engine Room is 50% the best levels in the game and 50% the worst levels in the game. There are some really fun levels in Engine Room. There are also some real stinkers. So this is again the last dome we're going to be doing. There is a Bowser Jr. boss fight level in the Engine Room, but we're not going to be doing it. We're going to be getting the last 16 stars without doing any more boss levels, just because it's a little faster to do it that way. So nice double bounce strat there, very swag. That saves a second or something. It's one of those things where it's not really worth it, but it's so cool, and it isn't too hard to do, and not very punishing to fail. So most people just do it just for the style points, the swag. So good. Gold Leaf won here. This is they ran out of ideas, so they made Honey Hive Galaxy again, but backwards.
Yep.
This level, you have two ways of approaching it. You need to collect 5 star chips. You can either go clockwise or counterclockwise. Clockwise is faster, but requires a kind of precise jump. So he's obviously going to be doing clockwise. It's pretty significant time difference, but it is a little fickle sometimes, because you have to rely on this game's wall jump mechanics, which are, on a good day, weird. He also did a little strat there where he buffered a jump out of landing out of that sling star, which gave him a really high jump that he used to weird angle. That's okay. Try it again. Nice. So that jump is harder than it looks for a number of reasons. One of them is because if you fail that 6-frame 2P jump input, you can fall into the pit and die. And another one is because wall jumps in this game kind of work like light bouncing off a mirror. They have an angle of incidence and an angle of reflection. So if you wall jump at an angle, you'll wall jump away from the wall at an angle. So you needed to land on a specific spot on that wall to get an angled wall jump that allows him to make it to that platform. And there he shot that bunny with starbits. The bunny is actually, that bunny in this level has he's got the sauce. He's got the jukes. Because you're meant to hit a switch to pop some walls out of the ground to stop the bunny from moving, but you can just catch him if you run after him, but it's a little difficult to do. So he stunned the bunny and ran into it by shooting starbits at it, which is the best the best way to grab it. So Gold Leaf 2 is a very movement-heavy level that involves kind of a lot of weird tricks. This is, depending on how it goes, it's either a really fun, awesome level or a terrible level nobody likes. It's pretty much a matter of whether or not it goes well. Shoutouts to Tibbs for the coin clip, one of the best Super Mario Galaxy speedrun clips of all time. And in this section, you're gonna see him skip pretty much every intended way of doing stuff. The cataclacks are like the gimmick of this level, but you can skip them by just jumping. This M-shaped planet is maybe one of the worst things in this entire game. They did a terrible job making that planet easy to navigate. And that is a strat that we call Crump Jump. It's short for Cringe Stump Jump. There used to be a strat where you do a jump off of a stump to get to the flower, but it turns out there's like a confused piece of geometry on that flower. You can get a wall jump off of it. You just do a really, really precise jump. The way that is a psychopathic setup for that.
I know. That's like a Ghost T certified only thing you do. But in general, people just backflip.
Consistent. It's so bad. Oh my god. Not to belabor the point, but darn, that is crazy. By the way, there's like a severe weather warning. It's yellow outside my window right now, so if my power goes out or something, I apologize. Anyway, this is Gold Leaf 3, a level that you can pretty much entirely skip. This level is like a massive bee mushroom gimmick level, but yeah, you don't need the bee mushroom. I have never seen anybody go on the back of this tree. That's actually like a good strat. I'm gonna put that one in my catalog.
Hey!
So this is another level where it's a lot faster to just climb up by platforming normally instead of using the intended power-up that lets you jump with my slightly higher. And here he's doing a really well-timed spin off of that vine, which allows you to skip the trigger that starts this boss fight, so the boss is just inactive and won't shoot water bubbles at you. Normally you have the bee mushroom, you're supposed to hide behind the walls while the boss shoots water bubbles at you, because getting hit by a water bubble takes away your bee mushroom. But not only do you not need the bee mushroom, you don't even need to do the boss. You can just skip the trigger that starts the boss fight. And it's actually still there even after the boss dies. So if you go into the trigger, if you enter the trigger after the boss dies, it just shows a cutscene of nothing, which is pretty funny. But obviously that's a time loss if it happens to you. Anyway, coming up next is Toy Time 1. Now this level is another very movement-heavy level. There's a lot of climbing and stuff. Toy Time Galaxy introduces the Spring Mushroom, which is one of the most universally loathed power-ups in all video games, maybe. It gets a lot of hate, and it deserves all of the hate. It is a terrible, terrible power-up. And in speedruns, we never use it because it slows you down immensely, and also it has terrible controls. But that's not an inherent problem. The inherent problem is that you lose a lot of time if you actually pick it up, because it's so much slower than just, again, even if it is better for vertical mobility, platforming normally is just it's a lot better for speed. So that question mark coin ahead of him spawns in the Spring Mushroom, but we don't need the Spring Mushroom where we're going. So we're going to be platforming through this section using a combination of backflips, long jumps, and the 2P mid-air jumps. And again, this is like, you're supposed to use the spring mushroom here, but you can even just wall jump off of those walls. Like, it's pretty easy to just make those jumps without even needing to use the spring mushroom. Even as Luigi, who has higher jumps than Mario, it is still, it is not that much easier to do that. So this is the Mecha Bowser, which doesn't really look like Bowser at all, but you know, artistic liberties or whatever. He's going to be going for a trick here called Armpit Skip, which involves doing some really suspicious wall jumps up the robot's arm here to make it up to the top without needing to use the spring mushroom or do a lot of the intended platforming in the level. And here there's a tiny little optimization. When you ground pound those rocks there, there's a hole in the robot's head that you normally land inside of, but if you ground pound the very edge of the rocks and you land on the edge of the hole in the robot's head, it causes this cutscene to play a little sooner. It saves a little bit of time. Goldleaf Comet is another Cosmic Luigi race. He's basically going to be doing the same movement he did in Goldleaf 3. So now is another good time for any announcements, donations, or other post talk. Anything to talk about?
Yeah, I think I'll mention another one. So I have been pulling out the Mario Kart World Choose the Character bid war, but we do have another bid war going on, and this one has been going on since yesterday, and that is the official Speed Docs Pizza Crust. And so far, there's only been 2 contenders. We've been fighting between New York Style and Stuffed Crust, with New York Style in the lead at $119.69, and Stuffed Crust in second at $65.31. But we do have 3 other options: Thin and Crispy, Grocery Store Pre-Made, and Well Done, all sitting at $0 right now. So if you have a strong pizza-based opinion, come vote in that poll.
I hate to admit it, but I do love a grocery store pre-made pizza. There's something about it, I don't know. However, I am also obligated to mention that as a Michigander, I am a big fan of Detroit-style pizza.
Got a Detroit-style pizza.
Nobody has ever, nobody I talk to has ever tried, but it is the best pizza, no bias.
I got a Jets pizza near me, and that's where I go for my Detroit-style pizza.
That's pretty good. If you're looking for a mainstream chain,
yeah,
that'll get you a good amount of the way there. It's pretty good.
I mean, me personally, anytime I hear the name Domino's, I always get a Domino's pizza. Domino's is probably my go-to pizza chain.
Domino's is one of my favorite chain pizza places. Domino's is pretty good. So how's the Taco Bell?
Taco Bell has improved. I pretty much only get either Taco Bell or Domino's, depending on how I feel. So those are my go-to restaurant chains. But if you guys are in the chat,
this level's an auto scroller. This level's really boring. So we have a lot of time to talk about whatever we want. So there's a pizza bid war and a Taco Bell, or a pizza bid war and a Taco Bell donation incentive.
Yeah, so the Taco Bell donation incentive was met, and we've completed it. Grace, aka Animated Elf, in the chat is the recipient of the Taco Bell. So I will see what she said about it and have her respond in the chat about how it was.
Did the DoorDash? Did you put the DoorDash order in already?
Yeah, it's been delivered and consumed already.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's I'm sure that's an exciting. That's the story arc. It's a more interesting story than Super Mario Galaxy's actual plot. So
yeah,
that's the fun part. You get to hear about the narrative of buying Grace Taco Bell. as we do literally the most boring level in the entire run. This is
I
this one's
asked
real
Grace.
smoother.
Grace is actually doing the restreaming right now for us as well. And so she said that it was okay. It took 45 minutes to get there, and she got the wrong food, but the food that she did get was still pretty good. And it was something that she would eat. So
that's kind of
or
crazy
blaming for the wrong order. That's the
That
real
is
question.
The authentic Taco Bell experience. Shout outs to my Taco Bell rating system. If you'd like to know more, come talk to me.
45 minutes and it being the wrong food is wild. I can't lie.
I mean, after 45 minutes, you gotta take what you get. Which kind of
back to levels that are at least mildly interesting. Toy Time 2 is another level where you're collecting 5 star chips, but this time it's on a planet that has a giant screw in it. And yeah, because we can jump, like we got them hops with the 2P jumping. We can actually avoid doing a lot of this movement the intended way. So this level's pretty cool. It's got a lot of fun momentum-related stuff. Again, we're kind of going to be using a lot of backwards momentum and some cool physics here to actually make this work. So the first thing here is this little jump. Nice. That's a lot harder than it looks. That gravity field is
I feel that almost every time I get a run here, so that's
like the weirdest gravity field ever. And then chaining the backflip to grab that starship into a bounce off the Mecha Koopa, and then going up to get that. Now, unfortunately, he does have to fall down and jump back up again because of that launch star cooldown I mentioned earlier. There's a little delay before it can activate, and you just don't have time to land in it, to spin into it before it before that cooldown runs out.
Something we never mentioned with 2B jumps that does happen is if you're behind like some kind of object and you try to do a 2B jump, it just never works. So that's why I went behind the tree in Goldie 3.
You need line of sight to do a 2P jump. You can't just you can't like do one behind a wall or something.
Pretty much.
But this planet is in the shape of a character you might have heard of from a game franchise that's decently popular.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's red though. That's the wrong color. Like, you're supposed to be green.
I think we consider him Red Luigi. You know?
Oh yeah, Red Luigi.
Red Luigi. That's his name.
All right, so this level is the funny level. This is another race against a bunch of penguins, except the difference between the one in Ghostly Galaxy that's very chill and this one is that in Super Mario Galaxy, the fastest way to swim is to constantly shake the controller literally as fast as you can and destroy your arm with repeated shaking.
I probably should have warmed up before this run started.
Yeah, you gotta like lift a little before you start. You know, it's get that exercise in. But then also the other thing that he's gonna be doing is surface swimming, which is kind of a weird type of trick here. You can see him doing it right now. This is like another one of those things where it's like we don't really understand exactly how or why it works, but if you spin a certain way at like the top of the water, you can kind of glide along it and move quicker than if you're just repeatedly spinning underwater. And now you might know that this game on the Switch, like there's a button to shake, so you might be wondering, or there's a button to spin. So you might be wondering why you're shaking. Well, the answer is that spins underwater, you can only do them optimally if you shake the controller. Nice first try surface one, by the way. That's like 1 in 3. It's just random whether it works or not. So optimal underwater spins only, and surface swims specifically, they only work if you shake. If you press the button, you have to frame perfectly time it every single time, because shakes buffer underwater spins. It's hard to explain, but basically, in order to do that optimally, you have to shake the controller. You can't just mash the spin button. So,
also, the race time I got there was a 48.78, and that's a second
really
off
good.
my actual best time, so that was pretty much like a perfect C-Slide too.
I think my best is like a 48. It's like, that was, not only was it a perfect, like a really good execution, but he also got the RNG, like, surface swim at the end. You get like, you have to like dolphin dive out of the water It's guaranteed to work if you dolphin dive out of the water 3 times, but it's like, I think 11 in 30 to work if you just jump out of the water once, like every time you jump out of the water. So it's like it's like a little over a 1 in 3 chance to get it before the 3rd time you jump out of the water where it's guaranteed. Anyway, another race with Cosmic Luigi here. This is a big example of Cosmic Luigi being faster than Cosmic Mario. He's kind of schmoovin' in this level, whereas Cosmic Mario is like extremely slow. But with the power of cheating, we're gonna beat Cosmic Luigi. We're gonna absolutely destroy him because, once again, he insists on using the shell, which is, yeah, it's a lot slower than even just swimming. Like, in the first level in Sea Slide 1, he used the shell because that level's an auto-scroller, so it doesn't really matter how fast you go. But in every other level where you need to swim, you're gonna be shaking the controller and swimming. You definitely don't want to be. Oh!
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Don't miss the star. You definitely don't want to be using the shell. That's all. Also, that star is closer to the right side than the left side. So if you're doing a casual playthrough, you want to go around the right side of that tower to get the star, because it's actually closer to the right side. Alright, Toy Time Secret. This is another Hungry Luma level. You need to collect a certain number of star bits before he reaches the 2nd planet to feed the Hungry Luma. So, and then right after that is an extremely cycle-based section where we get to talk about this game's crushing physics. This level, there's manifestations of the crushing physics in this game all over the place, but this level is probably the biggest example. This level and the next level are probably the biggest 2 examples of the crushing physics in this game being absolutely terrible. Basically, to give a short explanation of it, 2 walls in this game can crush you when Luigi is between them and they're a certain distance apart, but the walls do not need to be moving towards one another. So in this level there are Tox boxes, which appeared in a couple of different Mario games, and they can flip away from you and still crush you. Stuff like Rising Thwomps can crush you. Even just like nothing can crush you. Like you can just be like not even touching a thing that crushes you, and you can just get crushed randomly and die. This game has really, really profoundly unfair crushing physics, which makes this level a lot scarier than it looks. You can also soft block in this level, but I've literally seen it happen like 1 time ever to anybody, and you have to like. I've tried to get the soft lock and haven't gotten it, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. But basically, if you hit these spikes at exactly the right angle, after the level ends, they stop moving and you can get infinitely trapped in the damage animation and never, like, Luigi will never get up off the ground, and you're just like, you're stuck forever. Anyway, Toy Time Comet is the next star. It's that planet again, but with faster Tox boxes, and this level is where the terrible crushing physics really rear their ugly heads, because the faster moving Tox boxes means it's much easier to get an unfair crushing death in this level. So if you watch different runners play these levels, you can tell kind of who's died to terrible crushing deaths by how close they get to the Tox boxes while they're waiting for them to flip. Very early on in my speedrunning career, I learned that you shouldn't press up against the Tox boxes while you're waiting for them to flip in this level, because if you do, you can just die for no reason, and it's really bad. So this is also an extremely cycle-based level with a lot of tricky movement. If you get thrown off by the cycles, it can be really easy to just die, because again, they're moving pretty fast. They're not easy to dodge on a good day. And these red platforms are jerks. Also, the flip switches. Something I didn't really mention is that the flip switches actually have hitboxes. They aren't just like mesh with the ground. So if you try to run directly onto them, Sometimes you just don't. You get stuck on the flip. You can get stuck on the flip switches. It's very frustrating, especially because they shouldn't even have collision. They put collision there for no reason. They shouldn't have collision. They don't need collision. They're literally just like they're supposed to be flat on the ground. Like nobody would notice if they didn't have collision, but they gave them collision anyway. Alright, Gold Leaf Secret is another level where you need to blow the bubble with the motion control fan attached to the cursor. This is kind of a weird level. I don't know why they chose to do this particular secret star, but it's pretty fast, so I'm not complaining. This level is a music note collection challenge. So you need to ring this bell and then collect the musical notes. This is really hard to do fast. If you miss a note, you're like omega cooked. It's really hard to recover from. So some people are like really good at the star and they can like blow the bubble full speed and like precisely adjust the height to collect all of the notes. And that was pretty darn good. If you watch somebody do like an IL of the star, they just go so fast, it's crazy. And also the bubble can, if you slam it against the top of the tree while you're trying to grab the star, it will pop the bubble and you'll just fall. So that's cool too. Alright, we're heading back to Kitchen for a few more fast stars. The reason why we're doing this now is because one of the stars in Kitchen we actually unlocked by saving Luigi. There's a star in Kitchen that we don't unlock till later, so we have to do it. We have to come back here anyway. So we're coming back here and doing Buoy Base Galaxy, which is, in my opinion, has probably the best music in the game. It's up there for sure. This is one of my favorite tracks in the whole game, as well as some really fun movement and a big skip. There's also another big skip that's frame perfect that nobody goes for because it's not really RTA viable, but it exists, saves like 30 seconds. So if you're in like 2030, people will probably be doing that, but you know, but it's not happening quite yet. So he needs to lure one of these torpedo Teds, the underwater bullet bills, over to this weight to break it to raise the tower out of the water. And the frame perfect trick skips doing this, so it saves all the time it takes to go down, swim all the way down, swim all the way back up, lead the bullet bill over, or the torpedo Ted over, and watch that cutscene. So it saves a lot of time, but yeah, it's really bad. Like it's not just your average bad trick. It's like an extra bad trick. But this movement that he's doing right now is really fun. Climbing up the tower. You're meant to collect 5 blue star chips to create pull stars here, but yeah, you totally don't need to do that. They accidentally put that gravity field like way too close to the planet here. Also, Pokeball. This planet's a Pokeball.
Pokemon Sapphire?
Yeah, Pokemon Sapphire?
Yeah.
Tune in to the Pokemon Sapphire run. But yeah, that's a cool level. I think it's another like generally enjoyed level among speedrunners. Like pretty much every speedrunner likes that level. And like I said, I think the music of the level is really good. So now he's doing the secret star. This is the star we unlocked. It's green for some reason. Couldn't tell you why, but there's a few green stars in this game, which they copied Super Mario Galaxy 2 by putting green stars in the game and making them boring and tedious to collect. I'm a Greens lover, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is like you're going on the underside of the planet, kinda. This is another star that like it's not particularly like there's nothing really noteworthy about it. It's just fast. It's just a fast star. But one of the cool things you can do in this star is you could break the cage with the bullet bill and then go into first person and look away from the cage, and it won't break until you put it back on screen. There's a lot of things in this game that like don't happen if they're not on screen.
This upcoming level will show that very well.
Yes, that's kind of my transition into the next level. The next level is Drip Drop Galaxy, where you are tasked with the residents of a planet that is literally just a sphere of water to kill a bunch of eels, which are invading it. And the eels are swimming around on a cycle, but also how long they spend on screen manipulates their movement. So, in order to do this level optimally, you have to not only hit all the eels with the shells, which is its own... It's not without its difficulties, let's just put it that way. But you also have to make sure your camera and your swimming are done properly to manipulate the cycle so that they'll be in a good place for when you need to hit the eels. And if he does this right, the eels will all be in like the perfect spot, and then he'll kill the last one and it will spawn the star like right on top of him. You can also freeze them with the 2-player cursor, which is a double-edged sword because on the one hand, it's nice to be able to freeze them. On the other hand, it can really throw off your cycles. And clean.
That was like very perfect.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I mean, this could actually be a gold segment. Who knows?
It's good gold if he like insta-grabs. Oh, that was really fast.
Yep, I golded. Not by much though, but
How much did you gold by?
It's gotta be like
1 frame or something.
It's like 0.05 or like something along those lines. I have to check after this runs over, but that was a close gold.
It's let's say minus 0.0. So, yeah. So this is the last level in the game before the final boss. This is the Honey Hive Luigi level. You talk to Toad and he gives you a letter, and Luigi's like, "I'm stuck on this tree. There's bugs. Bugs are scary." Even though the NPC Luigi will kill the bugs if they touch him, he's still afraid of the bugs. So
I like it how he's more scared of the bugs than he is actually with the fact that he's like in the tree and like falling down.
I'm terrified of heights, but I'm not scared of bugs at all. So I would not be Luigi in this situation. But anyway, this is another really fast level. All you have to do is knock him down and speak to him, and he gives you a star. Also, I don't know where Luigi pulls that star out from because there are no pockets on his overalls. Like if you look, there's no pockets. He just pulls it out. He pulls it out of like his shoe or something. I don't know where he keeps the star. Anyway, this is the last level in the game. It's like a combination of difficult stuff and stuff that's not too hard. But before we get to do the level, we have to watch a really long cutscene. So this is like probably the last good opportunity for like if you want to talk about anything, any donations, any announcements, any like last minute things as we're wrapping up the run here. This is a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll just say that this has been a great run so far, and I've appreciated watching it and all the information that you've got to say about it. If you do want to donate, you are at the last few moments for getting in your donations towards a Mario Kart character if you have a strong opinion on that. And additionally, I know you guys mentioned a few minutes ago the Pokemon Sapphire run when we saw that Pokeball planet. We are about $100 away from meeting that incentive, so go ahead and get your donations towards that as well. Just a brief reminder, you can put your money towards a bid war and an incentive from the same money. So you can put that on both things at once. So go ahead and do that, guys. I'll look forward to seeing your donations fly in and read them for you during my last game for the block here.
I want to take a moment to mention Luigi's running animation here. It's so good.
It's like he's walking, but at the same time he's like skating. It's really confusing.
It looks like he's trying not to slip and fall.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love the way he like flails his arms around. Anyway, this is the last level. The first planet of this level is like the hardest part. So he's gonna go for like a fast cycle here, and if he gets this, it's like there's like one other difficult thing in the entire level. This is like some tricky platforming. You have to kind of watch out for the fire bars, watch out for the gravity spotlights. But he did get the fast cycle. He made it into the gravity spotlight. And remember earlier, if you remember earlier, he did the trick where he jumped around a corner to skip to get like a high jump. That's another manifestation of that. The game tries to change your angle as you jump out of the spot, as you move out of the spotlights. If you jump at the same time, that force like causes you to get super high jumps. On the lava planet there, he jumped around an invisible wall, which is meant to prevent you from doing that skip. He did. And then on the sand planet, you can just jump and skip the entire thing. The ice skating planet's a little bit less skippable, but it's still pretty easy to skip. That was a really nice. I don't know if that's what you usually do.
No, that was just a backup. That was just like
that was a good backup. And also there he got trolled. If you that gravity field has a habit of you're holding right and you long jump and your long jump goes left for no reason. It's very frustrating. I don't know why that happens. It's really weird. And then he's doing a strat here that we call CJitsall Cave after Giselle. Shoutouts to her. She was one of the first Super Mario Galaxy speedrunners like ever. And back in like 20.
And
oh, no!
yeah, that was
Back
too
in,
good
like,
to be true.
2012, she found a lot of strats that people still use today. So unfortunately, a death in the cave is extremely punishing. It loses a lot of time because you have to go all the way back to the beginning of this section. That movement that he was doing, by the way, is really hard. It's a very advanced strategy.
I just got it showed up.
It's also extremely scary because you have to damage boost a lot and you're on 1 health, and if you mess up there, you just die. Also, shoutouts to me because sometimes lava boosts hit you twice, and I had that happen to me in a run here, and I died, and it was awesome. And I'm still mad about that. That was like recently. It happened like a month ago to me. Anyway, yeah. So he just finished the cave. This is another actually kind of funny example of like this cutscene up here. Not this one, but the next one. He's gonna kind of have a little bit of movement, and then he's gonna enter a cutscene. You can actually skip this cutscene.
Yep.
But it also soft locks the game. So good luck with you can't use the fact you can skip the cutscene where he starts firing the meteors, but it doesn't let you trigger this cutscene, and then if you go back and trigger the one where he fires the meteors, it soft locks the game. So yeah, don't do that. Anyway, this is the final Bowser battle. We've got about I'd say about 2.5 minutes left in the run here. We have to battle Bowser across 3 different planets. And this is I guess this is technically kind of another section where luck sort of plays a factor, kind of, but not really. It's definitely not as much of a factor. So here, Bowser turns into a boulder. This is the early version of the rock mushroom from Super Mario Galaxy 2. He's gonna spin Bowser here while he's on the ground, cancel his animation, that's just a little faster. And another optimization he's doing is he's jumping and spinning to hit Bowser so he can fall backwards out of that animation, save a little bit of time. This planet has all these green stretchy things on it that you need to hit into Bowser. You can actually hit them with the 2-player cursor, which allows you to hit him really fast, and if you get good positioning on Bowser, you can actually get a super fast, you can actually end this phase really quickly. Nice, you hit him while he's like totally behind the planet.
Yep.
Also, another thing about that is that Bowser is always in range of at least one of the green stretchy plants, so he can never stop in an area where you can't hit him, which is really fortunate. And then this last section, he's going to be damage boosting to knock Bowser out of his shell phase earlier than he would normally. Normally he spends a bunch of time curled up in his shell, like rolling around the planet, but if you take damage from either the shockwaves or the fireballs that he spits, he'll exit his shell early. and here he's going for task strat. He didn't get
very
it. That's
close.
if you spin into Bowser, the moment he shoots a fireball, you can get knocked back, land on the fireball, and like instantly damage boost. It saves a little bit, but it's really difficult to do. Shoutouts to Hardcore Gaming for clutching a world record by hitting task strat at the last second, and then getting record by like 2 seconds. So yeah, that's the end of the run. Time is when he touches the Grand Star. So that's about 30 seconds from now. That was a really good run.
Except for some deaths here and there, this was like very well execution-wise. I mean,
Like,
I got to show off all the strats, and
you didn't
honestly,
make very
early
many
game.
small mistakes, and the big mistakes you made were like, you know,
That's for sure.
pretty easy to recover from.
All right, well, time is gonna come up as soon as I collect the star. Yeah, this is looking like it should be a 2:17:23, I believe. Yep, or 24.
24.
Whatever. But yeah, I mean,
So-
I was really happy
so
with
good.
this execution. This was like insanely good. Compared to the run I did 3 years ago, I think I had a 2:25 as my like time I got in the marathon. So the fact that I obliterated that by like 7.5 minutes just goes to show like how much this game has changed like in the like past 3 years.
You've also gotten a lot better at the game.
That is true.
Improved your PB by over 10 minutes.
Oh, 100%.
but yeah,
I think my PB at the time was a 2:23:53, and now I have a 2:14:55. So
This game has a really active community of people. The Galaxy games, both of them, have a really active community of dedicated IL runners, full game runners, as well as strat hunters, and it's got a pretty decently active tasking community as well. There's a lot of really cool stuff. If you're interested in the Galaxy games, I recommend joining the Super Mario Galaxy speedrunning Discord server. It's linked on the speedrun.com pages for the games. There's a lot of people in there that love to help answer questions, talk about the games. They're really fun to speedrun, and I highly recommend them, especially if you're like a newer speedrunner, because there's no barrier to entry. You don't have to learn any of the tricks he did in this run. There's like, you can boot up the game and do a run right now if you wanted to. There's no prerequisite to getting into the game, so it's really nice to speedrun. It's very easy to pick up, but the skill ceiling is pretty high, so it's fun to improve at as well.
I just wanted to give a shout out to some people in the community. CK, first of all, shouts to him. He's like, again, the world record holder and has put in a lot of time to this game. I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been playing this game. I want to give out a shout out to like other top runners, so Tibbs, Payduck, Pablo, Nanase, those, they have all been like really important to me in my grind. Competing with them like at one point in time, being able to like improve my PB from then is like probably like the main reason why I kept playing this game. And I want to give a shout out to Marco for commentating as well. Like, if it wasn't for him like talking a lot, I probably would have not done as good as I thought. So I was really happy that he took a bit of the stress off commentating. I also want to give a shout out to Team Aqua. So I am part of an esports speedrunning organization known as Team Aqua. Similar to SDAT, we do marathons of our own. We also post certain speedrunning events, so lifetime attacks, and that's all I wanted to shout out. So shout out to Team Aqua, and yeah.
Who else is part of Team Aqua?
Yeah, Marco is also part of Team Aqua. We got a lot of people on Team Aqua, so
We do. There's a lot of people.
we got a variety of speedrunners, mostly like 3D Mario, 2D Mario, even some rarer games, Jack and Daxter, Spyro. We got a lot of games on our
Also,
team.
shout out to the first ever Super Mario Galaxy best theoretical time, which is a
Yes.
slice of. It's basically a human task. It's a bunch of the top runners like clips of their runs all spliced together to make the best possible time. It's premiering tomorrow.
Yeah, you gotta
So-
check it out. And CK is the one who's going to be showing it off. So again, follow Mr. Cloud Kirby on Twitch if you
On
want to see that
Twitch.
run tomorrow.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It's been like over a year of work put into it, so pretty cool.
100%.
Awesome, guys. thank you so much for that run, and thank you for the great display of skill and the massive increase that you had. So great job to you, Ghost.
Thank you,
So
Quill.
what will we be seeing next?
Yeah. Next up is the Mario Kart World Run from Quo. That is the all ? panels. And if you guys want to get a donation in to change that character at the last minute here, we currently have Sting B in the lead at 106, Baby Rosalina in second at 100 flat, and Cow in third at 44. So if you guys want to get a donation in to change which character we're going to be playing as at the last minute, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thank you so much. We'll be back after this brief intermission with Quo and the Mario Kart World Run.
Oh, for sure. Awesome.